Nadia Azar with Drum Talk TV here at the NAMM Show 2019. Joining me in the booth right now is Pamela Lynn-Seraphine, world percussionist, author, educator, founder of 21st Century Drummer magazine. Pamela, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm so glad to finally meet you.
Me too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Well, we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we definitely do. Probably longer than this interview is capable of going.
Keep around for a while. We got a lot of chatting to.
Yeah, absolutely. So Pamela, I'm going to start by asking you if you've ever had any experience with drumming-related injuries, the kind of thing that develops over time as a result of repetitive motion or overuse.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced something like that?
Oh, heck yeah. So this is about 11 years ago. I actually tore my rotator cuff. And that's because I was like a really much rather flashy drummer, right? A lot of, high arms and stuff. And I was devastated. They'd said my career was over. And if you know, as being a drummer, you could have no arms and still be a drummer. So I had to radically change my playing style. And I switched to a Persian style, which I just used my fingers so that my shoulder could heal. And that's what sent me back into academia. So I've been in school. I'm on my doctorate now.
Congratulations.
Thank you, in neuropsychology, and that was because of the injury. So sometimes good things come out of it, but there's things you need to do so you don't get injured now that I'm older, wiser.
Absolutely, and that's something I've heard from several drummers so far is that, I used to have a much flashier, more flamboyant style, and I had to dial that back to be able to keep going, so...
And I think some of it too is because you have a tendency to really want to prove yourself, and you have big energy a lot of times, and what you have to learn to do is you've got to channel it down. So you're just as powerful, but I'm not wailing my arms, you know?
Yeah.
So there's different ways of doing the same thing, and I know a lot of drum set players, they'll lower their cymbals, and so.
Definitely. Yeah. So you mentioned changing your technique a little bit.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to be able to heal that shoulder in terms of therapies that you used or exercise or what have you?
Well, mine was a really severe injury, so it took years for mine to heal. So I changed my style of drumming, period, and that's what you have to do. If you're injured, you can't just think it's going to heal, because it doesn't. You have to stay off it. There's other things you do, even if it's with your feet. Like I actually would study some tap dancing because I couldn't use it, and then I did, like I said, my finger technique. I'm really into health. Health is everything, which is a big part of the magazine. Whether it's mental health, mental toughness, spiritual health, there's so many other things you can do, as well as doing, I know this sounds kind of, little woo-woo about visualization, but you can do a lot of drumming practice by, going it over it in your head and really deepening your practice, which is what I'm all about. It's about making your practice so much deeper than this superficial, like trying to get more rhythms and stuff. So,
absolutely, and that's not woo-woo at all. There's a whole branch of sports psychology that uses or focuses on using imagery to enhance athletic performance. Everything from during rehabilitation to visualizing, nailing that perfect 10 gymnastics routine or whatever it is. That's not woo-woo at all. That's a whole field of science that's out there.
I actually have my master's in sports psychology, and that was a big part of it, right? Because people don't realize that in sports psychology, it's the same thing as performance psychology. So, right? So everything that applies to sports applies to being a drummer, and it's really important. So, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to show more of the benefits of it, so that we're not always just talking about just technique. Because a lot of magazines it's just a lot of technique and a lot of, fame and fortune, and that's what you're striving for, but there's so much more to drumming than that, so.
Absolutely, and that's, from my end of it is the physical side, and you're absolutely right, technique is important, and of course it is, but along with that is everything you do outside of or off the kit. I like to equate it, when I talk to drummers, I like to equate it with professional athletes. Like, if you get, a professional basketball player does not just play basketball. They are in the weight room. They are doing skill-specific drills. They're doing training, cross-training and for endurance and strength, all of that, so that when they do get on the court, they're at their peak performance. And I don't see drumming as any different.
It's exactly the same. And, even the breathing part, the meditation part, the mindfulness part. It does, even if you're not injured, there's so much deeper that you can go with your drumming, so that you don't rush this idea. I know when I'm teaching, people just want more rhythms. It's just like you want to like consume it. It's like, I mean, when I was injured, I would do one rhythm for at least 3-4 hours a day for months. Like that's how deep it is. So I mean, and that brings you a lot of confidence, because it's like, if you can do that, I can do anything, right? That's like, so I'm in it for the long haul. So, I tried to really promote that for drummers as well. There's no end to this. You can drum until, the day you die. So,
Absolutely. If you take care of your mind and your body to be able to do that, to allow you to do that. But interesting too, in terms of drumming, and you'll probably know a lot more about this than me, but there are so many cognitive benefits to playing the drums, in terms of not just keeping your body healthy to be able to continue drumming, but how drumming keeps your brain healthy to continue living life.
Yeah, there's so much to that. That's a major part that I have been trying to get people to understand. For this aging population with all these neurodegenerative diseases, and you have drumming, which has so many benefits, and nobody realizes this, And I'm not talking about drumming like banging on the drum and this social thing. We're talking about learning specific patterns that force new neural connections, force new neurogenesis, new brain cells, more development, the thicker, more gray matter. That's so important as we age, and we're gonna see that. I mean, it's coming. People are starting to find out. The more you kind of push it into that area, let alone mental health. Don't get me started on mental health now, because
that's a whole other interview.
I'll be back later. No, but it's true, right? So once again, and like I said, I'm not talking about just banging on the drum for fun. I'm talking about what learning process does.
The purposeful, yeah.
So absolutely.
Oh, fascinating. Well, Pamela, it's been so nice talking with you. I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Yes, and you're going to be writing for the magazine next volume.
Absolutely. Yep, I definitely will.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for watching me, Dr. Nadia Azar, and Pamela Lynn-Seraphine here on Drum Talk TV. Stay tuned for more interviews coming up from me and the rest of the Drum Talk TV team.